Zohran Mamdani, all over the news. It seems like every 5 minutes, a new clip comes out of Zohran Mamdani. I saw a post you did earlier where you spoke about how he went to the $68,000 a year nice school in New York City. And I have felt that Zohran Mamdani is just a character, a con artist, an actor who is portraying himself as this down-to-earth immigrant guy who's going to save the working class. What are your thoughts on Zohran Mamdani now that the dust has sort of settled the last few days from the Democratic primary?
You're absolutely right. He is just a theatre kid, a New York theatre kid,
Mhm.
very pampered. Grew up on the Upper West Side. His mother is a world famous movie director. His father was a Columbia or is a Columbia professor, very left wing, and seems that Zoram has not rebelled against his parents one bit. He's gone
Mhm.
all in on the socialism, the communist front. I mean, there was a clip. I mean, there are all these clips now on social media, and there was one I saw this morning where he's talking about, the means of production. I mean, it's straight out of Marx, seizing the
Yes.
means of production. And then he gives this sort of benign chuckle, as if that's funny, as if, millions of people around the world haven't died for communism. And it just, but I think he is a product of the progressive schools that he went to in
Mhm.
Manhattan, progressive college. He's just the perfect uh, product of this kind of teaching. And he's all about, he mouths about social justice and all these nice things, getting stuff for free,
Mhm.
having free buses and having, city-run grocery stores. And these things, and getting rid of billionaires and white people, rich white people. He wants to get rid of them as well. Don't know quite what he's going to do with them. Probably the gulag, if communist regimes of the past can be held up as a test.
Yes.
So look, but I also think he's incredibly talented. His TikTok videos, which put him on the map, were really clever. He's clever. He's just charismatic and cinematic and
Mhm.
all the rest. So I think he's a force to be reckoned with, and it's only because the Democratic Party is just such a hollowed out shell that it can be colonized by the most organized group, which is, of course, the communists. They're always organized,
Mhm.
they're always waiting in the wings. And
Yes.
Zoran Mandami is their sort of perfect avatar.
Absolutely. I totally think all of this higher education, something I talk a lot is, go to a trade school, go learn a skill that you will
Yeah.
actually pay your bills because these kids are going to, Columbia and Harvard and they're majoring in like Latinx literature or the colonization
Yeah.
of this. And then they're shocked they can't find jobs or employment. What is an employer going to do with that darn degree? But then you graduate and you're taught to hate your country, to hate white people, that the world is broken up into good, bad, colonized, and colonizers. And I think more Zoran Mamdani is definitely a byproduct of that. Do you think this could ever translate to a general election? Like in 2028, people say, could a Zoran Mamdani or an AOC type character ever win a general? I'm skeptical, Miranda, because I feel like Kamala Harris had so many of the same policies as Zoran. She wanted the price controls. She wanted the transgender surgeries paid for by taxpayers. She
Yeah.
wanted open borders. She was just a little bit better at hiding how radical she was.
Yes, in fact, like Joe Biden, because he was
Mhm.
radical, during the
Yes.
2020 election campaign, he was all for free Medicare for illegal aliens and the rest, and
Hmm.
he was the one who, was huge on gender mutilating surgeries for children.
Hmm.
But I guess you're right that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were kind of wolves in sheep's clothing,
Yes.
whereas Mamdani at least says openly what he is and runs under the banner, like AOC does, of Democratic Socialists. I like to call AOC, by the way, Sandy Cortez, which is her real name. Sandy Cortez from Westchester. She's not AOC from the Bronx. Um, so, so
Jenny from the block.
AOC is such a cool name. It's such a good moniker. So I think we should
Yes.
start calling her Sandy. And so Sandy from Westchester and Bernie Sanders. So Bernie
Mhm.
Sanders was the socialist. I mean, he should have won the Democratic nomination. Although, I mean, he's nowhere near as radical. I think perhaps he was in his youth, but he mellowed out when he got to Washington. But he should have won if he hadn't been cheated out of it by Hillary Clinton. and then Joe Biden. So he might have, I feel like he's the representative of the kind of left-wing populism, the mirror image of Donald Trump, right-wing populism. And I'll just say one other thing that occurs to me is that people criticize Mamdani for not having done anything apart from being an actor and so on. But I mean, although Donald Trump was obviously a billionaire businessman, he also was a reality star. And so he had no experience in politics or government either. So I don't think that's a very valid criticism. I think that if the Republicans are going to criticize, and they are obviously, Mamdani and Democrats and try to stop him from winning this race, they need to be much more savvy about their critiques, because most of them just come across as just cliches. You know, he's an anti-Semite, he's a commie, he's a lefty. You know, that those sort of labels have been thrown around willy-nilly, that they really lost their meaning. You have to really look at what he says and parse it very carefully and explain why it's wrong, and show him up as being kind of a dangerous person, because he is dangerous. Behind that facade of pleasantness and charisma is really the age-old dangerous beast of communism, which has killed so many people around the world, and he's not even hiding it.
Absolutely. No, I think you have to really call people out on their policies, because I've seen the same thing where they say he was a rapper or he sang or made music videos.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to preclude someone from holding public office anymore. People are like, oh, we don't care if you were a rapper or a break dancer. We don't give a rat's ass. But you can call him out on his policies. And I think one of the most effective things near the end of the general election last time were these swing state ads on how Kamala Harris wanted to pay for inmates to have transgender procedures.
Yeah.
People saw that. That's a policy we hate. It's not common sense. It's radical. We don't want to pay for it. So I agree with you. I think Republicans, and especially conservative media, if you're going to attack Zohran saying he's a rapper or he's this or he's never held public office, I don't think it's going to do anything right now. I just don't.